Episode 9 is set to be the final installment of the Skywalker saga and the sequel trilogy itself by writer and director J.J. Abrams. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, with that being said, a lot of people are very curious about exactly how J.J. Abrams is going to end the Skywalker saga itself. It is a huge deal for J.J. and Chris Terrio and for Disney and Lucasfilm and everybody else that's working on this movie. It really is a huge task for them to get this right in order for it to really be satisfying to a lot of fans around the world. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. Now, I really wanted to talk about the story, the overall plot of Star Wars Episode 9. A lot of people have been wondering about the tone of this movie that will end the Skywalker saga as we know it. And what's really intriguing is that Episode 9 is being aimed to have the darkest plot out of the entire Skywalker saga to date. Now, this honestly is raising a lot of questions. If this movie is going to be very dark throughout the entire movie from point A to point B, from start to finish, this really does raise a lot of questions. Will this movie be centered on the character of Kylo Ren and pretty much his downward spiral to the dark side of the Force? I would have to say, yes, I think so. Because the reason as to why I do believe this is if you look at The Last Jedi, basically, Kylo Ren is now fully embraced within the dark side itself. And from all the different plot leaks that we have been hearing about, especially the big one back in May that a lot of people were talking about, is that this is actually going to center on Kylo Ren being the leader of the First Order and the ruler of the galaxy. Basically, we're going back to how Darth Vader ruled the galaxy, but now is in the hands of Kylo Ren. So with Episode 9 having the darkest plot in the Skywalker saga to date, is this a good choice by Disney and Lucasfilm? Now, to me, I honestly think it's a good idea to a certain extent if it's done right, if it's done correctly on screen, if it's not too dark, obviously, then it should be fine. I don't think that they'll go to the point where, there's going to be no comedy in it whatsoever. But if you look at The Last Jedi, that was aimed to be the darkest Star Wars movie, and honestly, it just did not reach the expectations, as they said. So now with Episode 9, J.J. Abrams and crew, they are trying to really, take things up a notch and change things up and really make this movie a very emotional movie between both Kylo Ren and Rey. It's said that this movie is fully centered on the struggle between both Rey and Kylo and the fight between the two. So this is basically going to be like Anakin Skywalker in Revenge of the Sith. We have this very conflicted character and where he's going. Now we have Kylo Ren already fully embraced within the dark side of the Force. Will there be more to it than just that? I'm not quite sure. Since this movie is aimed to be an all-out war and a war to end all wars, we can expect a lot of death, a lot of sacrifices, a lot of losses. There's a lot at stake here in this movie. We have Lando Calrissian coming back, Leia has a role, Luke Skywalker is back in the form of a Force Ghost and/or flashback sequence, and we have a whole lot more characters coming into play here for this movie. So a lot is at stake, not just for Disney and Lucasfilm to get this movie right, but also for the characters in this film fighting for their lives against the First Order. So, as John Boyega has said before in the past, this movie is going to be an all-out war. It's like a war to end all wars. This really is going to be one heck of a ride, in my opinion, because I think that we are going to see a lot of deaths of familiar characters, like let's say, for example, Poe, Finn, Rey, Kylo, Luke, already dead, but Leia, Lando Calrissian, Chewbacca, the droids. Maybe the Falcon gets busted. We actually just found out that, the Falcon, as seen in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, I believe takes place before Episode 9, but yet it's also described as the final resting place, which is a little confusing. So maybe that's out of the narrative of the movies? Maybe. But looking at, all the characters here, alright, the fact that this movie is going to have the darkest plot out of the Skywalker saga itself, this to me sounds like that either maybe Kylo Ren does not get that redemption arc, and maybe he dies, and Rey dies, maybe both characters, perish. I've been actually suggesting this for the longest time, that maybe they die in a Romeo-Juliet way. You know, that would be quite dark if you ask me, and quite tragic, and it's been said that the ending to episode 9 is going to be a mixture of being very tragic and satisfactory to not only the audience, but to the characters. You know, it's going to be both a happy and a sad ending. And that, to me, it sounds somewhat familiar from Return of the Jedi, when you see the death of Vader and Luke is all sad and he's doing the funeral pyre for his father, then it's a celebration. That's what we're going to probably get. Something similar in a sense like that. Just, I guess you could say, magnified. But anyways, guys, I would really love to hear what you have to say about all of this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.